On this edition of Showcase, Blake Robison will be giving us an insider's look at the Cincinnati Playhouse in the park. Stay tuned, Showcase is coming up next. Hi, I'm Barbara Kellar, and welcome to this edition of Showcase. Today, I'm speaking with the Artistic Director of the Cincinnati Playhouse in the Park, Blake Robison. Thanks for appearing on Showcase, Blake.
Well, it's lovely to be here. Nice to see you, Barbara.
Great to have you again. Of course, the Playhouse in the Park is one of the jewels in the crown of the Queen City, and we want to hear all about the season, the rest of your season this year, but I just had a couple of thoughts about theater in general in the United States, and as we all know, everybody's been struggling a little bit since the downturn in the economy, and all the arts groups are working, I think, as hard as they can to keep their people going, and the interest high and the attendance high. In the theater, are you experiencing any challenges of audiences, or people, is a subscription the first thing they drop, or do they keep, is it a pretty steady patronage?
Well, I think the first thing to say that the state of the arts in Cincinnati is strong and remains strong. Yes, all of the organizations have their various challenges, but I think we're coping with those in interesting and creative ways. You got to keep pushing yourself to be innovative and get the message out.
Yeah.
I think since the recession, the thing that has changed the most is that we've gone from an older system where people used to have a season ticket or a subscription and come to all 5 shows in the Marks Theater or all 10 shows in the Marks and the Shelter House Theater, and people are more inclined to pick and choose along the way. They cherry pick their way through a season. And it puts the burden on us to get the word out on a show-by-show basis. And so even if you see subscriptions going down a little bit, what you hope is that the single ticket buyers are making up for that, and you can balance things out that way. And that's what I've observed, certainly at the Playhouse and at most of the other organizations in town. Audiences are strong and healthy and curious and adventurous here.
I know when we talked before, you mentioned that you were hoping to be family friendly, and there would be lots of choices for families. And I noticed in looking at the season coming up, there are a lot of shows that are not familiar names. How do you go about picking the shows? Do you just read the script? Do you go see them somewhere else?
Right. Well, that's a great question. I do have one of the best jobs in the world. I get to read plays and see plays, not only in Cincinnati, but in New York and all over the country, and find the best. We're looking for the best things that are going to resonate with our audiences here in the city. I don't do it alone. I have a lot of colleagues. I have several associate artists who I work with at the Playhouse. And of course, the Playhouse has a long history of working with talented, nationally renowned directors and designers and actors. People are calling me up all the time suggesting projects. My job is to sift through those and create a season that has variety and excitement. Certainly people come to the Playhouse for a variety of reasons, and we're well known for doing different kinds of programming throughout the year. So you're always going to see some classical plays, you're always going to see some musicals. We have a strong commitment to new work. We do several world premieres every season, and I have to chart a path through the season for each theater goer with all of those ingredients in mind.
The Shelter House, how do you choose between the two, whether it's Shelter House or Main Stage?
Well, I think first and foremost you look at what the needs of the play are. Some plays are written to be performed on a very broad canvas. They simply need space because they have an epic feel, or perhaps they have a very large cast, or perhaps you know they're going to be hugely popular, like our production of Christmas Carol every year. Those plays have to go in the larger theater. The Marks Theater holds 626. And the Shelter House has an intimacy that is more suitable to certain plays. So the first thing, again, is to start with the play itself. Now, obviously, when you're dealing with such a large disparity in seats between the two houses, you have to keep popularity and those sorts of things in mind. There's a greater burden on us to fill that Marx Theater with popular fare.
Yeah.
And the Shelter House is a gift to theater goers all over the city because we can take some more chances there. We can do things that are a little bit more challenging, a little bit more cutting edge. They may not draw quite as many people, but they thrive in the intimacy of that space.
How many seats are in the Shelter House?
225.
And do they have all have the same length of run, or are they different?
All of our productions run for 4 weeks. We have a very strong subscription base, larger than most theaters are our size. And so again, that allows us to take a few more chances and know what we're getting into at the beginning of the season.
And is your donor support pretty
It's
steady?
absolutely phenomenal here.
I know
moved,
it has been historically.
That's right. Well, and it continues to be. I moved here from Washington, D.C. about 16 months ago, and I've been amazed at the level of support for the arts in this city and for the Playhouse in particular. We have very, very loyal patrons who care about the theater, and they want the theater in their lives. So we have been the beneficiaries of that and continue to be, even in spite of the recession.
I know at some point, a few years ago, there was talk about moving the Playhouse. Is that...
Well, I think all that got put on the back burner for a while. When 2008, 2009 hit, everybody's portfolios took a big hit. We decided that it was time to just put that on the back burner for now. I'm still in my introductory period. I'm in the midst of my second season, so I'm getting to know the city and our patrons, and they're getting to know me and my taste a little bit. That's the important thing right now. We'll have that conversation about the long-term needs of the Playhouse down the line.
Yeah, I was wondering, were they talking about that because they needed more space? Because the setting now for the Playhouse could not be better.
I couldn't agree more. It's a gorgeous setting.
We used to take picnics and sit on the hillside.
That's right. That's right. But it's a quite old facility. The Marx Theater was built in 1968, and it's had a few touch-ups along the way. But it's certainly not the kind of modern, comfortable theater with big seats and the things in the lobby that audiences have now come to expect. So those are the sorts of things that we're trying to deal with. This year, we've made some improvements in the lobby. We've created a lounge area with a huge flat-screen TV that shows dramaturgical content to give people a little bit of a sneak preview. We're also doing lobby talks before all the Marx Theater performances. So I or a member of the artistic staff will come out a half hour before the show in the lobby and tell you a little bit about what you're going to see. Something akin to when the conductor turns around before the concert and tells you a little bit about the piece of music you're about to hear.
Yeah, or the videos, the symphony.
That's right, that's right. Those are very effective. And so we're finding our own ways to do that at the Playhouse.
It sounds like it's an experience. It's an evening. It's not like going to a movie and it starts and it stops and that's it.
That's right. I think that's exactly right. And part of what we're selling is the theater-going experience itself. I think it used to be that you just did the play, and if the play told a good story and people liked it, that was enough. But as you know, people are looking for so much more now. They want to have interaction with the artists. They want to have a forum in which to talk about the themes and subjects and characters of the play, and so we're trying to give people that.
Yeah. You know what I've always wished? When you have a play that's thought-provoking, which we hope most of them are, but to talk about it afterward. Because even my husband and I will go home and he'll have one idea and I'll have another, and it's really interesting to find out what other people get from seeing exactly the same thing.
Right, I couldn't agree more. And we do some of that at the Playhouse, and we're trying to do more, some of these post-show discussions. Sometimes the actors come out and you meet the actors, or sometimes there might be a panel or simply somebody from the artistic staff out to chit-chat with everybody. It is important. One of the things theater does best is help you see the world through somebody else's eyes and question some of your preconceptions about the world. And we need time to absorb all that and to live in it for a while and then to debrief with our friends and our neighbors afterwards.
Exactly. Well, I guess I should start in now. We want to know what's happening this year. Tell us about the shows this year.
Well, we've already done a few. We started in the Marx Theater with two wonderful productions. Fly was the story of the Tuskegee Airmen, told through video and dance on stage. And then we had a very big successful production of Cabaret. In the Shelter House, we did the first of our several world premieres called 7 Spots on the Sun. And now we're up to the holiday season. So we have an old favorite, our massive family-friendly production of Christmas Carol, which has been entertaining generations of Cincinnatians. And we also have the return of our friends, the Reduced Shakespeare Company. This is a sketch comedy troupe, 3 guys who satirize various subjects. And this year they're taking on the genre of comedy itself. So their show is called The Complete History of Comedy Abridged. And in about 2 hours flat, with an intermission, they're going to take you from cavemen telling rock jokes all the way up through modern sitcoms. There's a hilarious sketch about Chekhov plays, which are notoriously boring, being performed in the style of Seinfeld. So it's that kind of sketch comedy that you might find on Saturday Night Live. So if you like that sort of thing and you've seen these guys before, it's absolutely a fun evening out.
Is that in the Marks or the
That's
Shelter
in the Shelter House.
Sounds like a Shelter House production.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And Christmas Carol continues on
Of course,
through the holidays.
And then Pride and Prejudice, is that next?
Before that, in the Marks Theater, we have a wonderful newish play called Clybourne Park, written by Bruce Norris. This is perhaps the most successful play of the last couple of years, and we're thrilled to be the venue to produce it here in Cincinnati. It won the Pulitzer Prize for Best Play. It won the Tony Award for Best Play. It is a comedy, a scathing satirical comedy about race and real estate. What happens is you're in the 1950s, and a white neighborhood is welcoming or perhaps not welcoming the first black family. The house is being sold to the first black family, and a lot of preconceptions get dealt with along the way, and you meet this family in the midst of that turmoil between their neighbors and the buyers of the house. In the second act, you come back and it's 50 years later, and now the entire neighborhood has become African American, and the exact same house is being sold to the first white couple who are going to come in and presumably gentrify that neighborhood. Of course, this is happening all around us in our own city. It's what you see happening in Over the Rhine and various other neighborhoods. So it deals with very contemporary issues, but in a scathingly funny way. After that, we do get to Pride and Prejudice, which of course is a very, very different kettle of fish, but you know, the wonderful Jane Austen comedy of manners, where we follow Elizabeth Bennet and her resistance and then love affair with the dashing Mr. Darcy. What's different about this Pride and Prejudice is that it embraces all the little characters that make up that story. If you're a fan of those Jane Austen novels, you know that they're populated with all these wonderful characters, not just the Bennet family and all the sisters, but all their aunts and uncles and nieces and nephews. This embraces all of that. It's a very, very large production. At the same time, over in the Shelter House, we have a whole series of other things. In January and February, a beautiful play called 4,000 Miles, which Time magazine said was the best play of the year last year. It is a beautiful, gentle, heartwarming story about a 21-year-old who has biked across the country, hence the title, 4,000 Miles, and he arrives at the apartment of his 91-year-old grandmother in Greenwich Village. They're both alone, have suffered some loss recently, and they become unlikely roommates and learn to get to know each other. They learn to love each other over the course of a couple of weeks in the play. And it's a very, very moving play, unusual relationship to see on stage. And already we're feeling that's going to be a very popular one.
Is that just a two-person?
There are 2 other characters who appear briefly, who you'll get to know along the way.
And then next is A Delicate Ship.
That's right. A Delicate Ship is one of our other world premiere productions. This is a fascinating, brand new play by a wonderful young writer named Anna Ziegler. It's a love triangle. We meet a young woman who is on the verge of becoming engaged, and then late at night, a man from her past shows up on her doorstep. It's clear that she knows him. She knows him well. We're not quite sure how or why, but the 3 of them get into one of these little triangle dances, and slowly, like a piece of origami, the play unfolds, and you keep learning little clues as to what is really going on amongst the 3 of them. So fascinating, fascinating relationship play. We'll follow that up with the final show of the Marks Theater season, which is a very, very popular, sexy comedy called Venus in Fur, written by David Ives. This was a huge hit in New York City a little while ago. People have been calling it the best date night in the city. And certainly it's not one that you want to bring the kids to, but it involves a young actor-director, somewhat full of himself. And he's casting his new production, which is based on an obscure German erotic novel. And he's been auditioning actresses all day long, and this actress comes in late. She's very, very late. Missed her audition. But he agrees to let her audition anyway, even though she seems completely wrong for the role of Venus, the goddess Venus. Once she starts auditioning, you learn that she's not exactly who she appears to be. And we get into a sexy cat and mouse game of kind of power and intrigue and romance. Very funny play. And I don't want to give away the surprise ending, but things perhaps a little supernatural start happening along the way. The final production in the Shelter House is a fascinating new play called The North Pool by a young writer named Rajiv Joseph. Rajiv is a graduate of Miami University, not far from here, and is widely perceived to be one of the hot up-and-coming playwrights in the country. This is a psychological drama that takes place in the principal's office at a high school. It has two characters, the vice principal and a young Muslim student who's been called in the day before spring break. He's questioned for various reasons about his behavior, about his home life. You're not really sure what's going on. And what you start to figure out is that there may be some racial profiling going on. It is a psychological drama, so the table keeps turning. And every time you start making a judgment or a supposition about one character or the other, the playwright pulls the rug out from under you and changes the rules of the game. A fascinating examination of those issues and how they influence our behavior towards others.
Is that the last show?
That is the last show in the Shelter House season, that's right.
So you don't direct any of these shows?
I direct generally 2 a season. I'm doing 4,000 Miles and Pride and Prejudice. So I get to do a small show in the Shelter House, then the big sweeping show in the Marx Theater.
Directing Jane Austen, oh my gosh.
I have directed this version of it several times before, and the only returning actress is the young woman who plays Elizabeth Bennet. Her name is Kate Cook. Playhouse fans will have seen her last season in our production of the comedy The Book Club play, which turned into a huge hit. She played the wife who hosts the book club, and now you get to see a different side of her. She's an actress after all, so she gets to play one of the great romantic heroines of all time.
And you're not changing sometimes we have modern versions of Shakespeare and so forth. You're not changing.
No, this will be a very traditional and lovely and beautiful production of Pride and Prejudice. I think it'll fulfill and exceed everybody's expectations of that story.
And you're doing the Pride and Prejudice and the other one?
4,000 Miles,
4,000
about the
Miles,
grandmother and the grandson.
Then you have to find directors for all the other shows.
That's right. We have a core of directors at the Playhouse now, 3 people named as associate artists, which means that each of them direct 2 of our productions. Michael Evan Haney, who's been at the Playhouse for over a decade, is one of those 3. And then Timothy Douglas and KJ Sanchez are the other 2. So between the 4 of us, we cover a lot of the productions. But there's still room for guest artists to come in. At the beginning of the season, this play about the Tuskegee Airmen called Fly was directed by a wonderful guy named Ricardo Kahn, who just came in to do that production, and then he'll go off and work at theaters around the country.
So those other directors are sort of permanent?
They're permanent for 2 years. They have 2-year appointments.
Yeah.
And that gives us a chance to get to know them and for them to build a body of work at the Playhouse. You know, it's really difficult being an actor or a director in this country. You're a freelance artist. You probably live in New York or Los Angeles. And you parachute into a community for 4, 5, 8 weeks at a time, and then you have to move on to the next gig. What our Associate Artist program allows is for somebody to think of Cincinnati as an artistic home over the course of 2 seasons. They'll direct 4 productions. They'll do outreach work, work with our education director, working in the schools, and I think we benefit from working more deeply and richly with a community of artists, if you will. And then 2 years later, it gives us a chance to mix it up, to stay nimble, even though we're a large organization, and invite some new people into the fold.
Do they stay here for the 2 years? I mean, living here?
Well, Michael Haney lives here. The other 2 are New York-based, but they will come in for much longer stretches of time. Each of them will be here
but they have you have apartments.
We do. We have.
Some are right across the street, aren't they?
Yes, yes. All of our artists stay in the Mount Adams area and enjoy all the restaurants and the coffee shops and the bars up there. It's a wonderful environment.
Yeah, it's a family, so to speak.
It is a family. It is a family.
Do the individual directors have people audition, or do they just know who they think is right for a part? And
it happens both ways. You know, everybody has a network of favorites who they enjoy working with, and I try to respect that. If an actor and a director have a body of work between them already, they have shortcuts, and they have an appreciation or respect for each other in the rehearsal room. But we can't cast every role that way, so we make sure that we find opportunities for some of our wonderful local Cincinnati-based actors, and then yes, we generally go to New York City and bring in actors who have very deep resumes, Broadway, off-Broadway, film credits. We want to make sure that our audiences are seeing A-list, top-notch people every time they walk through the door.
But it's also fun, I think, to see the same person in different roles. Of course. And how amazing it is to you think, wait, I saw her, but in a totally different venue.
Right. Well, that's acting after all.
Yes,
you know,
exactly.
I love Daniel Day-Lewis, and what a great example of a transformative actor who you can't even recognize from role to role. This young woman, Kate Cook, I just mentioned, I think will have that opportunity, having appeared in the book club play last year and then coming back to do this period romance. She'll be almost unrecognizable, but you'll get to see a whole nother side of her many talents.
Looking forward to the next year, do you already have some selections? You may not be.
Well, I'm not allowed to say anything
not
yet.
To say.
'Tis the season to start planning. We plan about a year ahead. And that means that right now I'm putting together the selection of 10 plays plus Christmas Carol that will make up. It's a lot.
Is a lot of stuff.
For me, what a gift. I mean, a lot of theaters our size only do 5 or 6 plays a year.
Right.
We do 11 plus our 3 touring shows. A lot of people don't know. We have
tell us about that.
We have a wonderful program called Off the Hill. We take our 8 acting interns and they produce and present 3 touring productions that go to schools during the week, and on the weekend they perform at some of the many community centers that are peppered all over the greater Cincinnati area. Every year there's one that is targeted towards elementary school, there's one that's a little more middle school, and then one for older high school audiences. We reach thousands and thousands of young people this way. So when you add those in, we're doing 14 productions a year.
Do they do full productions for
These are hour-long productions, so they can go in and perform in the school auditorium or in the gymnasium, in a classroom, and reach a lot of kids. Each of those performances in the schools is accompanied by a workshop from one of our teaching artists. It's important that we prep them for what they're going to see, have a little time to work with the teachers. They get study guides, talk a little bit about the issues in the plays. These plays are often about the challenges of being a young person, about growing up in modern society and how to deal with parents and friendships and the excitement you have as a young person, but also sometimes loss and challenges along the way.
Sounds a little bit like what we used to have, I think it was called after-school specials.
I suppose it's a little bit like that.
That's probably before your time.
No, I watched a lot of after-school specials. I'd like to think our scripts are a little bit more sophisticated than that. A little bit better?
Yes.
And the quality of the acting is really first-rate once again.
Do you ever have those shows with young actors, children?
Occasionally there are children who find their way onto our main stage. Our production of Christmas Carol is a fine example of that.
Of them,
Yes, and they keep growing up, and so we need new batches of children every couple of years.
Some of those originals I know are grandparents. I know.
We had a great event a couple of years ago where we invited essentially alumni Christmas Carol kids.
Yeah.
Anyone who had appeared as a kid over the many years to join us. It was at a preview or an opening night production, and they all stood up at once.
Oh, how
You see
fun.
these people who are now in their 20s, 30s, or 40s. It's just
that's
fantastic.
Fun. You could do that with Oliver, too.
I suppose so. That's right.
It's been a long time, I guess, since Playhouse did Oliver.
But there was a wonderful production of Oliver Twist at the Shakespeare Company downtown just this fall.
Yeah. We're very lucky.
We are indeed.
To have the Playhouse, the symphony, the opera, the ballet. I mean, we have an abundance of wonderful things for Cincinnatians. I don't think Cincinnatians realize how lucky we are.
Well, I hear people say that all the time. That may be. Again, you know, I mentioned before, I moved here from Washington, D.C., where there's a lot of arts. There's a lot of everything. But when you move, I think, to a mid-sized city like Cincinnati, it's very unusual to have all these large, medium, and small institutions doing world-class arts. They're fiscally strong. We're all healthy. Nobody's carrying any debt. Everybody has pretty decent buildings and performance spaces. It is a truly unusual situation, and one of the things that attracted me to the community in the first place.
Yeah, I think when you read about other cities and how their symphonies are in trouble, and Cincinnati has a real commitment of donorship, if that's a word, where we believe in supporting the arts. And how do you do that? Well, you attend, but you also give in to the degree that it's possible. And we've had associations with other cities and in regard to the ballet, and other cities do not have that culture.
It's true. People look here and then they get very, very jealous once they see what's going on, because I believe Cincinnatians view it as a civic responsibility to make this a wonderful place to live, to raise a family, to attract new employees. The arts do all of that. And we know that. And I think organizations like ArtsWave do a fantastic job of proselytizing and getting everybody on board with that.
Well, I think the Playhouse is sort of an, I started to use the term entry level, but if you say, oh, well, I don't care about classical music or classical ballet, but hardly anybody will say, I don't care about the theater.
Well, thank you for that. I agree.
Right, yes, I think that's something where you can get people started.
I agree. And I should add, you know, with all those different productions, with the 10 shows, Christmas Carol, the 3 touring shows I just mentioned, there's a lot of variety out there. Whatever it is you like, there's going to be something for you at the Playhouse every season.
Absolutely, and we thank you for doing that. And thanks for joining us today. This was
such
really
a pleasure
great
to see
and
you.
Fun. And for more information about the Cincinnati Playhouse and the Park and their upcoming performances, please visit their website at www.cincyplay.com. You may also call them at 513-421-3888. And to watch all of our showcase episodes again on demand, you may do so at our website at cetconnect.org/showcase. Thank you for watching. I'm Barbara Kellar, and have a great night.